Hello, this is the Robozoid, your semi-likable and occasionally tolerable curmudgeon of both the Rumble and YouTube airwaves, asking this question: is Trump really that popular? Well, I know that so many in the media have called him the most unpopular president that we've ever had, which was not true. In fact, he is the most popular. The real question is, how popular? Well, there's a CNN poll that actually has him basically at a 100% approval rating, according to the MAGA folks. I am part of those MAGA folks, but not a full-time member, just a part-time member. I'll point out things that Trump is doing incorrectly in his presidency. God knows I don't agree with all of them. I certainly didn't agree with the ballroom, and I definitely did not agree with buying a brand new Saudi jet, a Saudi jumbo jet, with more high-tech stuff on it to replace Air Force One. I was dead set against those things. And of course, as I've often tried and hoped and dreamed and wished, regardless of everything that I have ever dreamed for and wished for, the president still goes on Pawn Vanity's show and some of the other Fox Noise people who are not helping him, but are actually a major hindrance to him. But nevertheless, the president still goes on those shows. But you have to ask yourself, if anything in these CNN polls are accurate, because there's always got to be that one dissenter. I mean, not really a liberal so much, but just that one independent thinker who says, well, hold on a minute. I mean, how do you know this is accurate? I mean, CNN is known for being inaccurate many of the times. And of course, well, you think Fox Noise are any better? No, not really. But we do have to ask ourselves this question. And of course, the question of whether or not America really did decide, it's like, we don't want your help, NATO. We know the answer is obvious. We don't want their help because they're cowards. They're not willing to help us. They're not willing to work with us. But you know what? I think before we get into the whole polling thing, let's start with this clip here of President Trump as he is talking with, I believe it is the Prime Minister of Japan, and talking about NATO and their lack of helping us out, their disinvolvement, and of course, some other shit, including one clip from the Walrus being interviewed by Andy Blooper on CNN. I think you'll learn something from it.
Are you rethinking the United States' relationship with NATO possibly getting out?
Well, I'm disappointed in NATO that we spend trillions of dollars on NATO. Think of it, trillions over the years, many trillions of dollars. It's one of the reasons we have deficits and we help other countries. And when they don't help us, I mean, it's certainly something that we should think about. I don't need Congress for that decision, as you probably know. I can make that decision myself.
Nobody ever needed Congress.
Smart people, and I'd always deal with Congress anyway. But I don't need Congress for that decision. But
who does?
You know, when you say rethink, I have nothing currently in mind. But I will say that I'm not exactly thrilled when we help them with Ukraine. Look, Ukraine would have been over in one day if we didn't help. Frankly, Ukraine would have been over in the first day. They had the best equipment in the world. It was our equipment, given by Sleepy Joe Biden. No charge, no charge. Hundreds of billions of dollars of the best equipment in the world, no charge. I will say that I'm not happy about it.
We are not a party to the conflict, and therefore France will never take part in operations to reopen or liberate the Strait of Hormuz in the current context.
Screw you.
I will say, I think the Europeans make a mistake by responding to that kind of juvenile behavior with juvenile behavior of their own. A number of European leaders, including Kaja Kallas, the European Union's chief foreign policy official, have said expressly, Iran is not our war. That's a very dangerous way to put it.
This is coming from the greatest warmonger of all.
Teases him to come back and say, well, okay, Iran is not your war. Ukraine is not our war. It's very dangerous to approach.
Isn't this dickhead a convicted felon?
The next day.
In the White House right now, President Trump is about to meet with Japan's Prime Minister. This is a critical moment. The president demanding U.S. allies contribute more as we, along with Israel, knock down a nuclear-thirsty enemy in Iran and protect key oil shipping lanes in the Middle East. A new joint
tell us
statement
more,
from
Harris.
Japan and other allies.
And then go home and iron your
They are
neck.
ready to help secure the shipping now through the Strait of Hormuz and support efforts to stabilize global energy supplies. Now that.
Meanwhile, Mr. President, you just mentioned Japan is stepping up. What kind of support do you expect from Japan in the future?
Look, I expect Japan to step up because, we have that kind of relationship, and we step up for Japan. We have 45,000 soldiers.
Just don't ask him about the ballroom nobody cares about.
And we've had that kind of a relationship, so I expect, I'm not surprised that they would step up. We don't need much. We don't need anything. I mean, honestly, we don't need anything from Japan or from anyone else, but I think it's appropriate that people step up. In the case of Japan, I hear they get more than 90% of their oil through the strait, so that's a big reason to step up. I mean, we've demolished
The Strait of Hormuz.
Demolished. The only thing is the strait. It's very hard. You could take two people and they could drop little bombs in the water, and they're holding things up. We don't want that to happen. But honestly, Japan, China, Europe, parts of Europe get a lot of their oil through the strait. We get none practically. We're less than 1%. We don't have to be any percent. We don't even. I think we do it just to be nice. But we think of it. We don't use the strait. We're defending the strait for everybody else. And then in the case of NATO, they don't want to help us defend the strait, and they're the ones that need it. But now they're getting much nicer because they're seeing my attitude. They're getting much nicer. But it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's too late. UK wants to send aircraft carriers now.
I think I may have to call this video the Strait of Hormuz, or something like, let us say, the French are being obtuse while we're working with the Strait of Hormuz, or something like NATO is obtuse, we're saving this. Well, you get the idea.
And I said, I want the aircraft carriers before the war. I don't want them after the war is won. They want to send me aircraft carriers after the war is. There's practically nobody to shoot at them. Their missile count is
Even
down.
though there's no
You could
war
just
going on right now.
By about 90-something%. The drones are way down, and the factories are being demolished. Maybe,
Sir, our missiles being shot are down over 90% since the beginning. One-way attack drones down 90% since the beginning, which is a reflection of overwhelming firepower. But you mentioned the most important part, Mr. President. Their defense industrial base. If you can't make...
I find this to be unbelievably stupid and tedious, as they seem to be talking about war, when we're really not at war. Nobody wants war. Only a fool wants war. A fool like the aforementioned John Bolton, whom you saw a little earlier. Yeah, that fool, or all the other fools on Fox Noise, like the Pawn Vanities and the Liar Inkyhams. Those are the people who seem to want this war, while the rest of us are war weary. I mean, we're not saying give peace a chance, but we're at least saying, let's just knock this shit off, all right? So I think now you understand that, exactly why NATO will not play ball with the United States anymore. NATO are pretty much in link with France now, or should I say Paristan, so is it any wonder they don't want to help us? And as far as the airstrikes running in Iran, in which we took out Ayatollah Khomeini and took out all of the basic nuclear weapons hotspots, well, I don't know why the left-wing press and some on the woke right are actually calling this a war. This was not a war. Come on. We are not at war. So I wish they'd stop referring to it as such. But let's talk about this polls shit on CNN. Let's see if any of this is accurate. Does Trump really have a complete 100% approval rating among MAGA people? I would be honestly surprised if there was at least one dissenter, unless we have learned conclusively and officially that one person doesn't make a difference.
Just take a look here. MAGA GOP view of Trump. Approve
100%, if you are a member of MAGA and the GOP, you approve of Donald
That's
John
us.
Trump.
That's not us, that's them.
0% say that they disapprove. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know you can't go higher than 100%. He is the 1972 Miami Dolphins. Now, there are some Republicans who disapprove of Donald John Trump, but they are not members of the Make America Great Again movement. The bottom line is this: if you are a member of MAGA, you approve.
You remember John Travolta's character, Vinny or Vincent, in, I don't mean Welcome Back, Kotter, but I mean in Pulp Fiction, confused, looking around. That's exactly how you gotta feel, because this whole thing does seem very confusing. Certainly there have got to be some people who dissent. Certainly there are some people who obviously are not all part of the MAGA agenda. I know that I'm not anymore, only because of that goddamn ballroom and all that other garbage that, quite honestly, is just superfluous and not important to this country, and really not the kind of steps Trump should be taking to making this country better and to making it the beacon of light and shining city on the hill that it once was. Especially after that shining city on the hill has been tarnished with mothballs and lint.
I've heard some people say, oh, you know what, when you look at those MAGA numbers, it doesn't account for those who might have left MAGA. But take a look here. Americans who identify as MAGA, in November of 2024, it was 28% of Americans. Now it's basically the same. If anything, it's slightly higher at 30%. The bottom line is this: the MAGA base within the GOP is not shrinking.
Take it easy on the caffeine, buddy. That's all we're saying.
It's the same size. If anything, it is slightly larger than it was back in 2024 when, of course, Donald Trump won a second term. So that 100% that Donald Trump has approval among MAGA GOP, that is not an artifact of MAGA shrinking. It's just an indication of how strong Donald Trump's grip is on that MAGA.
I don't have much time in this video, so I guess all I'm going to say is, if one person does make a difference, if one person can make a difference, usually they shouldn't. In any case, yeah, I guess there could be no disputing CNN's polls, and of course, that fellow who obviously, he seems like a nice guy, the pollster on CNN, but man, switch to decaf, pal. Switch to decaf, because I'm afraid one of these days you're going to have a supersonic overload leading up to a heart attack, or at the very least an ulcer or mild stroke, so go easy there, buddy. In any case, yeah, this has been the Robozoid saying, hope you've enjoyed this video for whatever it's worth. And, of course, remember to smash that like button on both this channel and on my Rumble channel if you like what you saw, and I'm sure you did. Now, of course, what else should I say? Remember that wokeness is weakness. And, of course, don't drink the Kool-Aid or the soy. Just, I don't know, drink the sweet tea of that the Tea Party people started off with, until that movement got corrupted by the establishment pubs like, let us say, Dick Armey and Pawn Vanity. That's all I'm trying to say, really. Just remember that, obviously, all of this has to make you ponder, and if you're not thinking for yourself, if you don't use independent thinking or constructive criticism, you are not really alive then, are you? So, yeah, be here or be nowhere else. And also, if you are here, you're going to learn something from all this, I'm pretty sure.